I added charged biochar to one of my raised beds, left it for 30 days, and documented everything. The difference between that bed and the one right next to it, same soil, same seeds, same watering schedule, was significant enough to make me rethink how I have been building my soil. This is not a theory video. It is a real 30-day test in a real backyard garden, and I am going to show you exactly what happened, step by step. There is a lot of talk about biochar in the gardening world. Ancient civilizations used it. Scientists are studying it for carbon sequestration, and home gardeners are claiming it transforms their soil. But I wanted to see it for myself in a controlled way, with real documentation. I chose a raised bed I had been using for 2 full seasons and split it into 2 equal halves, one treated with charged biochar and one left as the control. Everything else stayed completely identical. The same soil mix, the same seeds, the same watering frequency, and the same organic fertilizer schedule throughout all 30 days. Biochar is not a fertilizer, and it is not compost. It is charred organic matter, usually wood, crop husks, or plant residue, burned at high temperatures in a low-oxygen environment through a process called pyrolysis. What makes it extraordinary is its structure. Under a microscope, biochar looks like a sponge with millions of tiny interconnected pores, and those pores are what make it so valuable in a garden bed. They hold onto water, nutrients, and beneficial microbes far more efficiently than raw soil alone. Ancient Amazonian farmers discovered this same principle thousands of years ago, creating what is known as terra preta, a dark, living soil that is still producing incredible results today, long after those civilizations are gone. Not all biochar products are the same, and the one you choose will affect your results. I looked at 2 things before purchasing: feedstock and particle size. Feedstock refers to what the biochar was made from. Wood-based biochar is the most common and the most consistent choice for home-raised bed use. Particle size matters because finer biochar integrates into soil more quickly, while coarser chunks take longer to spread their benefits through the root zone. I selected a wood-based biochar with a medium grind, roughly the texture of coarse sand to small gravel. I also made sure the product had not been pre-charged or pre-blended with synthetic fertilizers, because I wanted full control over the charging process myself. This is the single most important part of the entire process, and skipping it will cost you results. Raw, dry biochar is essentially nutrient-hungry when it first enters the soil. It will pull nitrogen and other soluble nutrients out of your soil before it starts giving anything back. Functioning like a dry sponge dropped directly into your garden bed. The fix is straightforward, but requires planning ahead. I soaked my biochar in a diluted compost tea solution for 72 hours before it ever touched the raised bed. The compost tea was made from finished compost and water, steeped for 24 hours with aeration, then diluted 1 part tea to 4 parts clean water. By the end of the soak, the biochar was dark, saturated, and already colonized with microbial life, ready to work the moment it hit the soil. The general guideline for raised bed biochar application is 10 to 15% of your total soil volume, and I did not exceed that range. With biochar, more is not better. Going over the recommended rate can actually disrupt your soil biology and create the opposite of what you are trying to achieve. I measured my portion carefully before mixing. Using a hand fork, I worked the charged biochar into the top 6 inches of soil on the treated half of the bed, blending it in evenly, rather than layering it across the surface. I made a deliberate effort not to disturb the deeper root zone already established in the bed. The entire mixing process took about 20 minutes, and once finished, the biochar side of the bed was noticeably darker and more textured in appearance compared to the untreated control half directly beside it. At the 2-week mark, I was not expecting dramatic differences in plant height, and that is exactly what I found. Both sides of the bed were producing comparable growth in terms of size. What I did notice was more subtle, and more telling. The biochar-treated side of the bed stayed visibly moist at the surface, well after a watering session, while the control side dried out and developed surface crust much faster. The soil on the biochar side was noticeably easier to work with, loose and pliable between waterings rather than hardening over. When I checked for earthworm activity by gently disturbing the top 2 inches of soil, the biochar side showed significantly more worm movement than the control side. These are the quiet indicators that matter, because they tell you the soil biology is shifting and building momentum underground. Before we get into the day 30 results, and the number that genuinely surprised me, take 2 seconds right now and hit the like button and subscribe if you have not already. More real-world garden experiments exactly like this one are coming, and subscribing is the only way to make sure you do not miss them. Now let us get into what the bed actually looked like after a full 30 days. By the end of 30 days, the visual difference between the two halves of the bed was clear and consistent. The plants on the biochar treated side were approximately 25 to 30% taller, had thicker, sturdier stems, and showed a noticeably deeper green color compared to the plants in the control section. The soil itself told an equally important story. When I dug down 3 inches with a hand trowel on the biochar side, the soil was soft, crumbly, and packed with earthworm tunnels throughout the profile. The control side, dug to the same depth, was denser, slightly compacted, and showed far less biological activity. The moisture retention difference remained measurable through the full 30 days. The biochar side consistently held moisture, roughly 30 to 40% longer, between waterings based on my daily surface checks. These are not dramatic claims. This is simply what the data from this one raised bed showed over 30 days of consistent observation. After reflecting on these results, the one change I would make is timing the application earlier in the growing cycle. I added the biochar at the beginning of an already active growing season, which means the plants were already competing for nutrients while the biochar was still in its early activation phase in the soil. The smarter approach, and what I am planning for my next test, is to charge the biochar during late winter or early spring. Work it into the bed at least 1 to 2 full weeks before any transplants go in, and give the microbial community time to establish and stabilize before the growing season demands begin. That pre-planting activation window is where the real foundation is built, and I believe a properly timed application would make the 30-day results even more pronounced than what I documented here. Biochar works, but it rewards preparation and patience far more than it rewards enthusiasm. The most important takeaway from this 30-day test is that the charging step is non-negotiable. The application rate needs to be measured rather than estimated, and the results accumulate quietly over weeks rather than appearing overnight. The treated bed retained moisture significantly longer, supported measurably more earthworm activity, and produced visibly stronger, taller plants by the end of the month. For anyone committed to building long-term soil health in a raised bed without synthetic inputs, biochar belongs in your toolkit. It is not a quick fix, it is an investment in the biology of your soil, and that is the kind of gardening that produces real, lasting results season after season. If this 30-day biochar test gave you something useful to bring into your own garden, please leave a like. It takes 1 second and it genuinely helps this channel reach more gardeners who are trying to do things the right way. Subscribe if you want to follow along as the next experiment gets underway, because it is already in progress and the results are looking interesting. And drop a comment below right now. Have you ever used biochar in your garden, and what did you notice? Have you been thinking about trying it? I see every single comment, and I would love to hear what is working in your beds. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.